zaidi na yeye, na I believe tumejitayarisha vya kutosha kwamba tumekuja huku Paris, hatujakuja tu kubahatisha, na wale federation yetu na serikali wasifikiria wametuchukua kimakosa, kwa sababu we will make them proud, tutafanya tu wafurahi.
Good evening, welcome to Prime Edition. I am Cynthia Nyamai. Now tonight, the new education model still continues to be a subject of debate. And as usual, you know, on Thursday, we do have for you a story on young entrepreneurs and also the sugarcane farmers relief. This is a very exciting story for those interested in agriculture. And also in studio, I will be talking to someone telling us more about what the government is doing when it comes to entrepreneurs. And for sports, athletics, U20, and much more coming up shortly. But first, let's have the highlights. Schools reopen as scheduled. The school calendar headed for possible disruption as teachers vow to go on strike next week.
That a child who has qualified to go to the university can be there crying, saying, look, I've been put in band 5. Is it band 5? When I ought to be in band 1, and therefore I cannot afford to go to the university. And when you follow, you find the child of a well-to-do family has been put in band 1.
Chief Justice Martha Koome terms as discriminatory the new university funding model, calls for free education for all.
Whether or not our brother Raila goes to the AU, and we wish him well, that he gets the job, the position doesn't change. He remains here, we still remain a voice. He goes, we still play our role.
And who will inherit Raila's shoes? Top politicians scramble for the driver's seat in Kenya's opposition politics. Well, we would love to hear from you. You can send us your feedback on our social media pages. That is KBC Channel 1. And our sign language interpreter is Lucy Maura. Now, debate around the new university funding model continues with Chief Justice Martha Koome and NAK Kenya leader Martha Karua being the latest to weigh in on the debate. Koome saying the model is perpetuating inequality and might prevent many vulnerable students from accessing higher education. On her part, Karua questioned why the government is shifting to a new model, yet the older model has worked.
As the debate on the new university funding model intensifies, the Chief Justice Martha Koome wants the government to reconsider the strategy as the intended persons may not benefit from it. Speaking in Nairobi, the CJ termed the classification of household into clusters unfair and further proposed a consolidation of bursary funds and channeling them directly to schools to make education free. Koome noted that the proposed new funding model risks locking out students from poor backgrounds against accessing higher education.
That a child who has qualified to go to the university can be there crying, saying, look, I've been put in band 5. Is it band 5? When I ought to be in band 1, and therefore I cannot afford to go to the university. And when you follow, you find the person, the child of a well-to-do family has been put in band 1. When you follow, you also find that there is bursary fund given from the taxpayers' money, given to the governor, given to the women rep, given to the MP through CDF, given to the MCA. I hope none of them is here because they are going to lynch me. Now, all those bursaries, how are they disbursed? Why wouldn't you put them in education and make education free for all?
Similar sentiments were raised by NAK Kenya party leader Martha Karua, who criticized the government for shifting to the new model, yet the HELP model was working.
The introduction of the variable scholarship and loan funding model is nothing short of betrayal by people who enjoyed education funded by the state. It shifts the burden of education to the backs of students and their families, majority of whom can ill afford, violating the essence of Article 43 of the Constitution, which guarantees the right to education.
The remarks comes even as the head of public service, Felix Koskei, revealed that 5.2 billion shillings for loans have been disbursed at HELB, with a further 2.8 billion disbursed to cater to university scholarships. Koskei further said the government was putting measures to address the gaps in the new funding model.
5.2 billion has been wired to help. So let us leave misinformation, propaganda, and the quest for regime change for things that are sorted. And as I said, you can correct the placement at the help desk. Go and give out proper information. And we know each and every child here.
Now, the school calendar is headed for yet another disruption should teachers make good their threat to down the school come next week when schools are scheduled to resume after the August holidays. Teachers, through their union, have vowed to paralyze learning in all learning institutions, demanding the government implements the 2021-2025 collective bargaining agreement. Joseph Wahungu with details of the government's new headache.
Education Cabinet Secretary Julius Migos is staring at a litmus test come next week amid threats by teachers to go on strike, demanding implementation of the 2021-2025 CBA that have monetary implication on the government.
Our clarion call as Nakuru is that no CBA, no school. No CBA, no school. He asked the Kenya Kwanza government to fully implement the education charter, remove the intern teachers, convert all intern teachers to the legally framework of permanent and pensionable.
We are tired. The teachers of this country are tired being lied to.
It was the same script in Rarieda and Bondo, where the union say they have alerted the police of their strike come Monday.
That we, Rarieda, branch of the Kenya National Union of Teachers, support and are in solidarity 100% with the decision of the National Executive Council of Kenya National Union of Teachers to call industrial action.
Because the CBA, which was negotiated last year, has never been put into place.
In Nandi County, the Kenya Union of Pre-Primary Education Teachers, KONUPET, have threatened to boycott work, demanding for disciplinary actions against senior officials in the education department accused of threatening to dismiss ECD teachers seeking solutions to their grievances.
Kienda pale hivi kutibiwa, tunaambiwa kwamba you are not covered with NHIF. Sasa tunashindwa, zile pesa ambazo tunakatwa kwa base slip yetu sinaenda wapi?
Tumenyanyaswa hapa Nandi County ya kutosha. Pesa hizi tunalipiwa ni peanuts yenye inaitwa special salary.
Joseph Ohungo for Prime Edition.
Enough is enough. 5 police officers who were implicated in the escape of Collins Jumaisi, the Kware dam site mass murderer, and 12 Eritreans on Monday have been released, but under strict conditions pending investigations. Senior Principal Magistrate Martha Nanzushi declined the Director of Public Prosecutors' request to detain them, citing the prosecution did not adduce compelling reasons to warrant 14 days detainment. They were granted personal bonds of 200,000 shillings each.
The Gigiri 5, who allegedly helped the 13 suspects to escape from police cells, have after all been freed but on strict conditions, among them reporting to the investigating officer twice a week.
Each respondent shall execute a personal bond of 200,000 shillings each, with one surety. The surety shall also execute a personal bond of 100,000 shillings on behalf of each respondent, and they are to ensure the attendance of the respondents to the office of the investigating officer twice a week for the period requested of the 14 days.
Trial Magistrate Mother Nanzushi ruled the state had failed to provide compelling reasons to detain the officers in custody without charge. Prosecuting counsel James Gashoka had on Wednesday applied to have the officers detained for 14 days at Spring Valley, Runda and Parklands to enable the investigating officer to record their statements.
Dated and signed in open court in presence of all parties. The right of appeal in 14 days, any dissatisfied party.
The is also willing to avail contact persons.
Elsewhere, a man has been charged for stealing 9.1 million shillings from EcoBank Limited Westlands branch. The court was informed the suspect Jeremiah Anakolia Moyo intentionally withheld electronic payments amounting to 9.1 million shillings, which were delivered in error to his account and almost resembled the recipient's account number based on the same bank. Anakoli, who denied the offense, was ordered by Chief Magistrate Susan Shitube to secure his release by depositing a bond of 1 million shillings. Pre-trial is set for September 5th.
For a cash bail of Kenya shilling 500,000 plus one contact person. Prosecution to supply the defense copies of all documents to be used at the trial. You go before court number 5 and 5th.
Ruth Wamboy for Prime Edition.
Government spokesperson Isaac Mwaura has defended President William Ruto's countrywide launch of stalled projects, some launched during the fourth administration. Mwaura says the relaunching of some of the projects is in line with Ruto's commitment to accountability. The president has been under fire from a section of social media users who have accused him of relaunching stalled or incomplete projects.
In his weekly briefing, the government spokesperson sought to set the record straight following accusations by social media users that the president was on a spree to hoodwink Kenyans with non-existent projects. According to Mwaura, The president was keen on remaining true to his oath of accountability to Kenyans.
Commencing of a project, the launching of a project that has been stalled, and the completion of a project or commissioning. I think the whole idea is if a project is stalled and it is relaunched, there's nothing that is as noble as that. In fact, it is the greatest extent of accountability. And of course, if then that was something that, for example, the president did when he was a deputy president, he's just, keeping the promise because he's now the commander-in-chief and the head of government.
On commissioning projects launched during retired President Uhuru Kenyatta's administration, Mwaura argued that governments are successive and serve the Kenyan people.
Projects stall because sometimes, we have had very serious budgetary challenges because of the huge public debt. So when you see His Excellency the President, making sure that that which had been started is actually moving on, it clearly means there's every intention to ensure that that project is completed and it serves the purpose upon which it was conceived for.
In line with President William Ruto's directive for those who have attained the age of 60 to exit public service, the government spokesman says the government plans to create 8,000 openings this year and 46,000 openings in 5 years, the priority being to fill the positions with the youth.
Some 39,360 civil servants are expected to retire from this service in the next 5 years based on the June 2024 payroll. This is in addition to 7,477 officers who have retired between 13 September 2023 and 30th June 2024. These officers are from state departments, county executives, and county assembly.
Mwaura further sought to allay fears of confusion in university admission owing to the new university funding model, with the Ministry of Education having opened the window to appeal for wrongful placement in funding bands until December. John Jacob Curia, Prime Edition.
2 families in Kitengela are enduring a harrowing ordeal as they search for their loved ones who have gone missing under unclear circumstances. The 3 individuals believed to have been abducted in separate incidences have left their families desperate for answers.
The first case involves 2 brothers, 42-year-old Longton Jamil and 36-year-old Aslam Longton. Eyewitnesses report that on Monday, August 19th, at approximately 1:30 p.m., the brothers were intercepted just a few meters from their home by a white Subaru.
Waliona walisema ni mapolisi kutoka Nairobi walijitambulisha kuwa wametumwa kuja kuchukua ndugu yetu mmoja anaitwa Aslam. Lakini ili walipofungua gari wakutaka kumchukua, Jamil alikuwa anauliza wanampeleka wapi huyo. Sasa ile wakati wa kuulizana na yeye ndo wakamchukua pia Jamil. Wakamweka nyuma ya boot ya Subaru. Witness na walikuwa hapo, witness wa pikipiki ndo waliona hiyo tukio ilipofanyika hapo.
Despite their tireless efforts to locate the brothers at various police stations, the family's attempts have yielded no results, leaving them in a state of deep distress.
DCI wanasema hawana information yote kuhusu kuchukuliwa kwa Jamil wala huyu Aslam. OCS pia amesema hiyo hivyo pia.
Machakos, Nairobi, Kajiado wote wanakataa kwamba hawajamuarrest na wote wanasema hawajamdetain.
In a separate but equally concerning incident on the same day, Bob Njagi, a 47-year-old human rights activist and chairperson of the Free Kenya movement, was abducted while traveling by bus from Nairobi to Kitengela.
Lakini kufika Mlolongo, gari hiyo ya Rembo Shuttle ilisimamishwa. Watu wakaingia ndani ya hiyo gari, walikuwa wamejifunika uso, wakaweza kumpiga, wakamchukua, wakamweka kwa Subaru. Na kutoka hiyo wakati hajaweza kuonekana tena. Kutoka hiyo wakati pia hajaweza kushika simu tena. Asubuhi, ikifikia mwendo wa asubuhi, simu yake ilikuwa imezimwa.
With their mobile phone stand off and no significant progress reported at Kitengela police station, their concern continues to grow.
Ikipiga simu yao ishiki, ni mteja. Mpaka saa hii sijaongea na Jamila ama sijapatana na yeye kitu.
Mimi ningependa niulize serikali, are we safe and who is next. Tuambiwe tukae tukijua, sababu sasa imefikia mahali hata mtu hawezi kuishi na amani katika taifa la Kenya.
In Gakoe village, Githunguri, Kiambu County, another family is nursing similar sorrow after a 28-year-old kin disappeared without trace. John Kimani Njambi, who is also an orphan, disappeared on 5th of July this year and has not been seen since then, despite all efforts to trace him.
Tulikuwa tukimuona, alikuwa na sweta ya maruni na ilikuwa round, hakuwa na kara, ilikuwa na round na wrong ilikuwa ya light blue na alikuwa na flota.
Tungeomba na tungetaka yoyote ambaye anajua pahali ya yuko atujulishe.
For any positive progress, you can report to the nearest police station or call the following mobile phone numbers: 0722 727 831 or 0710 971 060. Ben Chumba, Prime Edition.
Well, we will be taking our short break, but when we come back, I will be telling you more about Azimio leadership wrangles and much more.
Colgate Herbal is formulated from a unique blend of natural herbs and is scientifically proven to strengthen teeth and keep gums healthy. Try Colgate Herbal, scientifically proven for strong teeth and healthy gums.
Siamini. Amini usiamini. Holiday Bonanza ni ya kila mtu na zawadi zitakufikia mahali popote. Dial *570#, chagua option 4 na zawadi kibao zinakungoja. Ikiwa kila wiki kuna 250,000 Kenyan shillings za kushindaniwa. Ni *570# pekee. Option 4, tushinde.
Ever crazy. Undoubtedly entertaining and mind-boggling. The savage netizens capturing that unique moment.
Welcome back. Opposition leaders appear to have begun jostling for the role of opposition chief following the planned exit of Raila Odinga to pursue the chairmanship of the African Union Commission. The latest opposition leader to show interest in taking over as the official voice of the opposition is NAC Kenya party leader Martha Karua. Karua says she will continue to hold the government accountable, even as she cautioned against the reintroduction of rejected clauses in the finance bill. Our reporter Adeziz Hashim has details of the race to fill the opposition chief post among opposition leaders.
Ladies and gentlemen, His Excellency Dr. Musalia Mudavadi.
A day after the Azimio leader Raila Odinga announced that he will be taking a back seat when it comes to the country's political scene.
I'm not going to be very active in Kenyan politics henceforth.
as I continue now to focus my attention on the continental campaign.
His exit appears to pave way for opposition leaders eyeing the seat to express their interest.
But it is a phase, it is a transitional phase from active participation in Kenyan politics to moving towards African continental politics.
Now Kenya Party leader Martha Karua, Wiper Party leader Kalonzo Musyoka, and other Azimio principals appear to have begun positioning themselves to take over as the official opposition chief.
Being opposition even without title. We do not need any title. And we've always tried to be good citizens who take up their civil responsibility in this country.
Sisi tumeamua kwamba tutakuwa wapinzani wa dhati bila kusita, kwa sababu nchi yenyewe inatarajia kwamba we stand strong na Wakenya mtuamini.
I'm speaking on behalf of Kenyans who are agonizing, and that should never be tolerated. That is a decision I'm giving as Babu Owino, not as ODM, although I'm in ODM.
Speaking at the party headquarters along State House Road, Karua maintained that despite Raila's exit from local politics, she will continue to advocate for the rights of Kenyans and speak out against bad governance.
Whether or not our brother Raila goes to the AU, and we wish him well, that he gets the job, the position doesn't change. He remains here, we still remain a voice. He goes, we still play our role. So our being in the opposition is not predicated on the presence or absence of our brother.
It is not in doubt as to where we are going, because our leader of Azimio is with us here.
And we will remain under the leadership of Stephen Kalonzo Musyoka as Azimio to fight for the people of Kenya.
It is now a game of wait and see what next for the opposition leaders with the exit of Odinga from local politics. Abdiaziz Hashim for Prime Edition.
Well, that's a story we'll definitely be following up for you. Now, away from politics, the government is in the process of streamlining the challenges encountered in the acquisition of passports as part of a broader initiative to promote the export of skilled labor abroad. Principal Secretary in the State of Labor and Skills Development, Shadrach Mwadime, says that the focus on exporting skilled labor is part of the government strategy to reduce the high number of unemployed graduates.
Speaking in Kilifi County during a training session of 25 nurses recruited to work in Australia, Principal Secretary in the State Department of Labour and Skills Development, Shadrach Mwadime, dismissed claims that the government is overly focused on exporting and skilled labour abroad.
We are targeting all professionals. We are not just limited to the medical, professionals alone, but the rest of the other professionals in Kenya, young people who have graduated and they need of jobs. We will be as aggressive as possible.
The PS noted that significant efforts are being made to secure opportunities for Kenyan graduates in the international job market, even as the government strives to simplify the documentation process for graduates seeking jobs overseas.
Umetaja mambo ya processing of visas, zile mikataba ambao tutaweka kidole na hizi nchi, itakuwa ni kuhakikisha kwamba visa processing inafanyika kwa haraka iwezekanavyo.
The government has been working with recruitment agencies to find job opportunities abroad for Kenyans, including Ken's Cheer Agency, which has been recruiting 25 nurses every 3 months to work in Australia.
We want Kenyans to migrate abroad in an organized and a very structured way, unlike the way it was being done before. Some of those harrowing stories that you'll read on print media and electronic media, see on electronic media, it's because it was not being done in an organized way.
Opicho Chemtai for Prime Edition.
The government has been urged to invest more on empowering girls with disabilities with science, technology, engineering and mathematics STEM related skills to not only bridge the gender gap in the critical fields but also enhance inclusivity in the learning and innovation spaces. Speaking during the national STEM competitions in Nairobi, stakeholders in the education sector stressed the need for more comprehensive policies and better infrastructure to support students with disabilities.
The first national STEM competitions for learners living with disabilities in Kenya, dubbed Ibuka Girls in STEM, held in Nairobi, brought on board various actors in the education sector.
The project aims to expand opportunities in STEM for girls with disabilities through mentorship. It's a project we've been rolling out for 3 years just to create opportunities for girls when they complete secondary school education and to get them interested in STEM subjects.
Here, students are living with disabilities drawn from various learning institutions across the country showcase their projects and innovations as a way of promoting science, technology, engineering and mathematics education in the country's curriculum system.
They are getting involved, much more involved in the science subjects, and they are also able to research a lot because of the facilities that are being provided by the project.
Participants at the competition sharing their experiences and challenges in pursuing STEM-related courses called for collaborative efforts among all stakeholders to ensure success of the initiative.
We are many in school, many girls want to do this, want to try this. So by the time you get your chance to use it, it will be little.
We need more partners investing in disability. We need more budget allocation within government as well towards the needs of students who have a disability.
Representatives from the Ministry of Education said the government is dedicated in ensuring that all children with disabilities get the opportunity to excel in STEM-related fields.
We have special capitation for these learners with disabilities that is given by the State Department of Basic through the Directorate of Special Needs Education.
Parents who have children with disabilities should not hide them. They should bring them so that they can go to school, so that they can be empowered like any other children.
John Kahiro for Prime Edition.
Kenya and China are deepening their educational partnership through an ambitious scholarship program. The joint initiative, highlighted by Principal Secretary for Higher Education Beatrice Inyangala, has seen students awarded with the scholarship from various education levels today. Pauline Nasimiu has the details for you.
As the demand for higher education surges, the gap between need and available resources continue to widen. Principal Secretary for Higher Education Beatrice Inyangala, addressing this pressing issue that is exacerbated by limited resources to fund higher education, highlighted the critical need for additional support to ensure that no student is left behind due to financial constraints.
The need for higher education has increased, and as a country, we appreciate our partners, we appreciate China for augmenting our available resources for students to enable us support an increasing number of students to pursue university education. Such initiatives from friendly countries like China help the government to bridge the gap by supporting students to pursue courses that are relevant to the rapidly changing world.
In a bid to address this gap, Chinese government has granted education scholarships to 19 more students from various education levels that include undergraduate, master's and PhD levels this year, as Kenya's high-profile delegation is set to attend the 2024 summit of the Forum on China-Africa Cooperation, which will be held in Beijing from September 4th to 6th.
Governments of China and Kenya agreed to build an even closer community with shared future in the new era. So for this year, a total of 65 Kenya students, including 46 who has already studied in China, and 19 young, fresh talents in Kenya, are given Chinese government scholarships.
Pauline Nasimiu for Prime Edition.
To ask our
The Ministry of East Africa Community, the ASALs, and Regional Development now says member countries are on a mission to lift border barriers in a bid to deepen and widen trade, cooperation and exchange of labor among the 6 member states. The ministry's cabinet secretary, Beatrice Askul, says the movement of people and goods at different cross-border points should be seamless among East African member states to promote economic spur in the region's economic bloc. She underscored that opening up the borders will end unemployment, which is affecting most economies, as youth can freely move and employ their skills in different countries. She made their remarks during the official flagging off of 19 cyclists from 6 East African member states for the 7th edition of the Great Africa Cycling Safari today in Nairobi.
We are opening this border so that people can freely move in terms of educating themselves. They can also access markets within those various member states. So, and we find this being a platform through which the youth have that facilitative role from government by removing the barriers that would stop them from reaching out, looking for opportunities that would support them.
We try and push the agenda for Kenya to ensure that we increase the volume of trade, the intra-EAC trade, Kenya's share if it's possible, and in fact generally for all of EAC.
Bunge la Mwananchi Pressure Group want the newly sworn Attorney General Dorcas Odor to prioritize justice for victims displaced during flooding and those abducted at the height of the anti-finance bill. Separately, police in Busia have destroyed cannabis worth 44 million shillings that was confiscated in the separate incidents within Teso South. More details in the county news.
The bang weighing 1,400 kilograms was destroyed at Alupe West Disposal Area in Teso South. According to Busia County Police Commander Muhammad Abdile, the contraband found its way to the country from neighboring Uganda.
Proving them wrong that hatuna soko ya bangi hapa wa nchi ya Kenya. Wale wanafanya kazi ya bangi tunawapea onyo ya kwamba tutapatana hao na tuko na hao macho kwa macho.
Separately, Bunge la Mwananchi, led by its president Francis Owino, has served the office of the Attorney General with orders from the East African Court of Justice. This follows a petition they presented at the East African Court in which they are demanding justice for persons forcefully evicted from their homes during the floods, as well as those abducted at the height of the protests.
We are asking the state parties to consider the membership of Kenya. We cannot have a country within the East African community that does not respect the principles of human rights and our obligations under that particular treaty.
Elsewhere, Nyatike constituency Member of Parliament Tom Odege has called on the government to release funds intended for the expansion of the Lower Kuja irrigation scheme in Migori County. Odege highlighted that the multi-billion shilling irrigation project, one of the flagship initiatives in the previous government, is on the verge of collapsing due to lack of funding.
The initial amount which was given to the scheme was around 980 million, which I would authoritatively say was misused. And that's why the project has been ailing. If that money was correctly used, we would have realized at least a third of the scheme.
And finally, in Bomet, the County Director of Veterinary Services, Dr. Wilson Serem, has urged locals to volunteer information that would lead to the arrest of persons trading in sickly animals. This follows an incident in which a vehicle ferrying sickly animals to a slaughterhouse was intercepted by police.
There is no animals which are not fit for human consumption slaughtered in those facilities. But we are equally aware that there are illegal transport of hill animals, the terminal hill animals.
Irene Mchuma Odim, the Prime Edition.
Welcome back. It's now time for business. Calls to mobilize and accelerate climate change financing for the urban poor-dominated discussions at the African Green Climate Finance National Designated Authorities Network meeting ahead of the COP29 slated for this November. Environmentalists say the urban poor, especially those living in informal settlements and flood-prone areas, are the most affected by climate change due to inadequate infrastructure.
Africa currently receives just $30 billion annually for climate adaptation, far short of the $277 billion needed each year. This significant financing gap leaves the most vulnerable populations, particularly in rapidly urbanizing areas, exposed to severe climate impacts. Environmentalists are therefore calling for increased funding to fast-track the development and implementation of infrastructure projects and social programs aimed at building the resilience of this population.
That Africa is a victim, not the offender, in this exercise. Africa's emissions is negligible compared to what we are going through.
Now, COP29 coming just a few months from now, we don't seem to have done anything substantial. There's no mitigation, there's no for provision of funds that were promised to help the community be resilient.
The operationalization of the Building Resilience for the Urban Poor initiative is central to these efforts, focusing on addressing housing, water and infrastructure challenges, supporting slum upgrading initiatives, and cleaning up Nairobi River.
It's time that Africa took its destiny in its own hands and worked as one unit.
Governments, NGOs, civil society, the private sector, international agencies must come together to provide the necessary funding, expertise, and resources.
We have already had several resolutions. What is needed now is call to action, complete implementation of the resolutions we have agreed.
Additionally, they want barriers to investment in adaptation and improving the rate of disbursement and access to funds addressed, especially from the Green Climate Fund and other global sources.
This is something that we cannot do individually as nations. We must come together as a continent and insist in enhancing climate change financing. If anything, we are not the polluters of the environment.
Mbadi says the National Treasury has disbursed $56.9 million to 45 counties through the Financing Locally Led Climate Action Program. Wairi Mujenga for Prime Edition.
Kenya targets to have the first operational nuclear power plant by 2034. Prime Cabinet Secretary Musalia Mudavadi says that a research reactor will also be commissioned by the early 2030s in an initiative that begins in 2027 to increase the country's energy capacity, reduce carbon emissions, and create job opportunities and boost economic growth.
Kenya has an installed energy capacity of 3,321 megawatts, which comprises 863 megawatts from geothermal, 838 megawatts from hydro, 678 megawatts from thermal sources, 436 megawatts from wind, 173 megawatts from solar, and 2 megawatts from biomass. While renewable energy will continue to play a pivotal role in Kenya's energy future, policymakers believe that there is potential for innovative technologies, such as small modular reactors, to provide both low-carbon energy and energy security. Speaking after meeting with William D. Magwood IV, Director General of the Nuclear Energy Agency, Prime Cabinet Secretary Musalia Mudavadi highlighted the agency's mentorship of young Kenyans in science, technology, engineering and mathematics, and the importance of collaboration to empower the youth. The discussion between the two leaders focused on advancing nuclear technology as part of Kenya's sustainable energy strategy and aligns with Nuclear Energy Agency's leadership goals to integrate atomic energy into the clean energy mix. The thematic areas include deploying small modular reactor technology, enhancing research, and building institutional sustainability. In addition, Kenya is gearing up to host the second edition of the United States Africa Nuclear Energy Summit next week that will assess the industry's readiness for nuclear energy adoption in Africa and seek to address concerns hindering nuclear power adoption in the region. Ndutamo Kami for Prime Edition.
Farmers are calling for a review of the minimum buying price of sugarcane from the 5,000 shilling per ton, citing higher production cost.
For months now, sugarcane farmers have been voicing concerns over low prices of sugarcane. The Sugarcane Pricing Committee, whose primary mandate is for setting and review sugarcane prices, has now set the price at 5,000 shillings per ton. This represents an increase of 50 shillings. However, sugarcane farmers believe the increase is too little to cover the higher cost of production.
Tukienda kwa ile mbolea serikali imeleta, ukiweka hapo kwa miwa unakuta kwamba hiyo mbolea inaenda sana. Kwa sababu nitakana uweka hapo kwa hii miwa ni kama iko kwa 3/4. Natakana niweke mifuko 2 mara 2. Wakati nimepalia kwanza nitakana niweke mbolea. Kupalia pili nitakana niweke mbolea. Ndio miwa ikue haraka. So serikali bado imeweka pesa chini. Nitakana hii pesa iende kama 6,000 ama 6,000 na kitu hapo. Ndio mkulima anaweza pata kitu.
In a statement, Agriculture Cabinet Secretary Dr. Andrew Karanja noted that the new price would take effect immediately in alignment to the prevailing market conditions, taking into account fluctuation in production cost and global trade dynamics. According to the CS, the new prices will further enhance farmers' income. The falling prices have, however, been attributed to increased cane production from 17,000 tons to about 80,000 tons monthly as a result of the fertilizer subsidy and good rains. Trevor Ngendo for Prime Edition.
Bamboo trees for many years have been an iconic symbol of elegance and simplicity and are largely associated with Japanese gardens and Asian designs. At just 28 years, Dominic Tanui has carved out a niche in the eco-friendly market by transforming bamboo into stunning handcrafted artifacts. We visited his business venture in Nandi County, and Lorraine Jeptirir filed the following report for tonight's episode of The Young and Industrious.
In the heart of Nandi County lies Kobujoi town, home to hundreds of bamboo trees. In the suburbs, a variety of trees grow here, from sprouts to fully grown stalks. We first head to the bamboo plantation to get a glimpse of its beauty. It is here that Dominic Tanui has ventured in the climate-resilient move for 4 years. According to him, it all starts here at the nursery.
Ukiangalia kama hizi hapa ni seedlings ambazo zimekaa kwa nursery karibu mwaka mmoja, na hii ni seedlings ambazo ziko tayari kuenda kupandwa. Ikitoka hapa inaelekea kule kwa mashamba ambapo tunatengeneza shimo ya futi 2 kwa futi 2 na futi 2 pia chini. Tunaweka manyua na tunaweza kupanda bambu ili iweze kupata ile rotuba ya kumea kwa haraka.
From the nursery, the seedlings are propagated in potting bags.
Itachukua karibu muda wa mwaka mmoja ili iweze kunawiri kufika ile stage ya kupandwa katika shamba. Hiyo njia nyingine ya pili ni kutumia cuttings. Ile mianzi ambayo imeshakomaa inakatwa, mwanzi wa karibu miaka 2-3 inakatwa into cuttings. Tutapata kwamba ile node iko na kitu kama hii, kwa hivyo inakatwa mahali hapa na inakatwa mahali hapa, kisha inaingizwa kwa potting bags ambazo ni kubwa.
Once the bamboo fully matures, it is harvested to be handcrafted into artifacts and even fodder.
Mwanzi huu tangu upandwe umechukua karibu muda wa mwaka mmoja, na kama unavyoangalia matawi ni mengi sana, kwa hivyo inahitaji ile tunaita sustainable management. Tunaenda kuondoa hizi matawi kama hizi hapa, na tukitoa hizi branches tunatumia kama hii, tunatumia kama fodder.
and some as food.
Bamboo rhizome ama bamboo shoots iko na manufaa mengi kwa mwili. Iko na calcium, iko na carbohydrates, na pia iko na silica ambayo ni mzuri kwa mambo ya mifupa na ngozi.
From the plantation, we head to the workshop. Inside, everyone is busy. We find a variety of homemade products from flower vases, angle phone holders, bamboo couch and lampshades. Tanui's interest in the bamboo tree, he says, was sparked off by its raw material capacity for a number of artifacts.
Bamboo is the newest cash crop in Kenya, and therefore we want to advance these to the community for livelihoods, and also at the same time also fighting climate change.
Compared to other trees, he says, bamboos have been identified to be the most eco-friendly.
The products we make actually have low carbon footprint, because when you look at the carbon produced to make a plastic chair and the carbon emission from the products we make from bamboo, they are not comparable.
Tanui acknowledges that leveraging on technology has opened opportunities for his business.
Going through YouTube videos, YouTube tutorials, you can get to learn a lot. We've learned a lot in terms of making some specific artifacts, and that has had a plus so much in terms of our designs, because going to events and forums, you get to understand that you're making amazing designs, you're making amazing products, and all that is because we are using so much YouTube to learn what is being done and also learn new technologies of making new products.
Thanks to his enterprise, Tanui has created direct and indirect jobs for his community members.
I want to urge the youth, kwamba out of this bamboo, they can actually employ themselves. Wanaweza kujiemploy, wanaweza kutengeneza kama cottage industries out of bamboo only.
Wanapovitengeneza, wanapeleka sokoni, wanauza na wanapata pesa. Hiyo inapunguza hao kutegemea msitu sana sana katika manufaa yao ya nyumbani.
Because bamboo takes huge space, and there are these NEMA regulations about the distance you should plant from your neighbor's boundary. So those are the challenges that we really get. It's not like a tree you can just plant anyhow. You need to consider a lot of facts.
Despite the challenges,
we also are trying to see if there can be standardization of other products, and also inclusion of these bamboo products in the public procurement list, so that we can trade with the government. If we get that point where we have the chance to trade with the government, it's easy to promote the sector.
He aspires and advocates for the use of eco-friendly bamboo trees, not only in Kenya, but globally. Creativity is just like weaving magic with ideas, and just like Dominic Tanui, sometimes all we need is just a touch of creativity in our craft to develop beautiful ventures and even generate income. For Young and Industrious, I'm Lorraine Chepchirchir.
Iko kwa star 570 hash pekee na ni option 4. Inamaanisha mwezi mzima wa Agosti ni tushinde. Dial star 570 hash, chagua option number 4 na ujipatie ushindi wako wa bidhaa au chapa, kwa sababu tumejaza. Kila wiki tunatangaza mshindi wa 250,000 Kenyan shillings na zaidi, na zawadi chungu mzima. Alafu guess what? Tumerudisha Probox ndani, na isitoshe Mazda Flare pia iko ndani. Ni star 570 hash pekee, option ni 4. Holiday bonanza, tushinde!
Ever crazy.
Wewe hata niongea. Unasonga kuliko nilivyo kidogo ndio hii mkasema quick batu. Mtasema batu.
Undoubtedly entertaining. Anguka now, check it. Anguka now. And mind-boggling. We are doomed. Members of parliament, we are doomed, I'm telling you. The savage netizens.
Wacha nilie kwanza.
Capturing that unique moment.
Unasonga kuliko nduthi.
Welcome back. As I told you earlier on, we will be talking about empowering small businesses. As you know, Thursday, it's all about businesses and entrepreneurship. We have been receiving messages about just the story that we shared earlier on young entrepreneurs. And in studio, I am joined by well-known as chairman. Thank you so much, James Mureo, for joining us today from the SME Authority.
Yes.
One of the things, and I'm so glad you're here, people have already started asking questions, especially the youth, the 1 million job question. But let me first start by asking, what is the role of the, should I call it how do you say? MCA. What is the role of MCA?
Thank you, Cynthia. Really, the role of MCA is primarily to look after the micro and small enterprises in very many ways. I normally say that in MCA, all the problems of the world, be they a lack of trust, lack of finances, lack of structures, lack of continuity, because SMEs are generally informal in their nature.
Yes.
So in our space, that's where all these problems live. But also in that same space where all the problems are, is a lot of initiatives, ability to survive through very difficult circumstances,
yes,
re-engineering themselves. If you look at how they bounced back, the SMEs bounced back,
yes,
from the post-COVID vagaries.
Yes.
I think they just told us how resilient they are. So our work is really to try and cushion them from all these vagaries.
Yes.
Sometimes you find there, like recently when there were fires at the Toy or in Machakos, we have to run there and see how quickly we can restore
Yes.
their livelihoods.
Yes.
So, and then also we have a responsibility of linking up SMEs to markets, trying to look for possibilities of getting affordable credit, because that's another big problem that dogs the sector. They lack adequate financing,
yes,
and the banks don't trust them, which is a very big shame, because Cynthia, this is a sector that employs upwards of 90% of our employment, and at the same time they contribute about upwards of 30% to GDP.
Yes.
So it's not a sector you can ignore. But over time, I've realized, the time I've served as chair of the Micro and Small Enterprise Authority, that there's been a lot of talk and very little genuine action to support them.
Yes.
So we've taken a few initiatives to try and look for support that we can render. We've just concluded KEOP, the Kenya Youth Empowerment Program.
Yes.
That was giving grants of up to 40,000 to our youth.
Yes.
Just startup capital. It's not a lot of money, but if you turn it over for SMEs, that's a lot of money. People belittle that amount and say only.
Yes.
But I can tell you 40,000 in the hands of an SME or a women chama can be a colossal amount of money in no time at all.
Yes.
So yeah, we've concluded that, and we were lucky just recently. The World Bank has also come back again to support what would be referred to as KEOP 2,
yes,
or the Nyota program, which is also looking at again offering affordable support to SMEs.
Yes.
That should be rolling out maybe towards the end of September, October. And that again, we're going to look at SMEs that can come up with business plans that can be adopted for financing. They must show their initiative and involvement, skin in the game. They are involved. They have either the skill or the resources to put in to start up, and we support that. We are also looking at carrying out a baseline survey, again with the support of the World Bank, where we are saying, if you cannot quantify the number of SMEs we have and the problems they are experiencing, and the the numbers, the demographics, and the sectors they are in, we cannot be able to offer real support.
Yes.
So our first major problem, and I think the last statistics that we have from Kenya National Bureau of Statistics was in 2016. So we are lucky that the World Bank is offering to carry out another baseline survey, which will be very deliberate and sectoral specific, so that we're able then to say if Nyamai is in the wood carving industry or the Juakali metalwork, how many are you and what are your pain points and how can we target support directly to you?
Yes.
So there are many things.
You're guessing wood carving because I'm Kamba, so that's the business that looks like. But from your experience, I was reading a report that was saying, was talking about the challenges of entrepreneurs.
Yes.
And one of the challenges that it was saying people really talk about is capital. But actually the research says capital isn't the biggest challenge for entrepreneurs, that even when you give entrepreneurs capital, there is a possibility that their businesses won't still sail through. What are some of the major challenges in your experience that SMEs go through?
You're right, Cynthia. Indeed, there's been a myth that every time the SMEs have a problem, throw more money at them, and sometimes we've actually created more problems. Because I'll give you a true story about a furniture maker along Gong Road who was making furniture, very nice furniture, and selling, and more furniture and selling, and he was running a good business.
Yes.
Until they had a wedding in the family.
Yes.
And guess what happened? All the capital was wiped out by the wedding. And that means the fellow actually did not differentiate or could not differentiate what is working capital and what is profit.
Yes.
Now, so what we are also doing in part of this exercise that we are going through is to educate them, create capacity in them where they are taught this is working capital, don't touch this.
Yes.
Whatever you make over and above this, you can use this for your wedding and parties and whatever. But this is working capital. Because guess what? After the wedding, this fellow was sitting idle, no money because, you know, they again, nobody trusts them, so they live with what they have.
Yes.
So he blew his tops and he was suffering.
Yeah.
So you're right. We don't necessarily, all SMEs don't necessarily need more capital. They need capacity building. They need to be taught basic bookkeeping so that they are able to differentiate. They are able to know that you don't wrap your business around yourself. Because again, you'll find, Cynthia, the businesses are wrapped around the entrepreneur. So that when he goes to hospital, the business goes to hospital.
Yes.
When he goes for a holiday, the business goes for holiday.
Yes.
So we are trying to demystify that and to try and encourage them to try and disassociate themselves from their business and try and give it a real test of surviving on its own.
Yes.
And you'll also note that there's empirical evidence that there are people who almost have failed. Their businesses fail immediately, they disappear from the face of this earth.
Yes.
Many of them.
Yes.
And unfortunately, even some of very well doing businesses, some of our top African businessmen, if you look at what happens after their demise, sadly they all fall through their hands. So it's been again, you know, a very, very sad state of affairs. So it is important even for businesses to delink themselves from the owners, so that you let this business run on its own and see that it can survive after you're gone. A good example is with the Asians, the Indians. Their businesses survive generations, and it's because they allow that delinking. So they test the business out there. They're watching, but they're not wrapped around the business themselves. So, you know, then of course you find also, apart from the fact that they don't need technology, we have a responsibility to enable them to access to market, adopt technologies, and be able to be competitive. What we are really insisting now at micro and small enterprises is remove your competition from your local competitors for argument's sake, again, the craftsmen
yes.
from Ukambani, Wamunyu and areas,
yes.
they only look at their little craftsmen and they look at Kyoko
yes.
or Mutua is not doing as well as I'm doing.
Yes.
I'm a better craftsman.
Yes.
But really we are not. Our competition is not here.
Yes.
Our competition is with China,
yes.
is with Taiwan, is with the international world. So we cannot, again, continue competing. We must now perfect the quality of our products,
yes.
keep them export ready,
yes.
so that we're able to then introduce our products into the international market.
Yes.
I'll tell you something. In October, there is a big fair coming
yes.
in Southern Sudan,
yes.
where we go and exhibit. We take about 500 exhibitors from Kenya to go and take their wares.
Yes.
We have a pre-qualification and we take the top 500. We pay for their expenses and upkeep in South Sudan, which is a rotational thing. This year we're going to South Sudan.
Yes.
That is where Kenya shines. But again, I'll tell the local manufacturers,
yes.
that's not our market only.
Yes.
We must look beyond.
Yes.
Beyond this African
yes.
community.
Talking about your authority, it's also meant to spark industrial revolution through even policy reforms.
Yes.
And also undertaking various programs. Perhaps if you could tell us, even as we come to an end, what are some of the policy reforms and the programs that we have to ensure that if one day Kenya will proudly show off about the different industries that we have, and even when it comes to exporting?
You know, Nyamai, I'll ask you, many times we have to get the order right. Eh?
Yes.
You know, if you want to shoot somebody, you aim, then you shoot. Sometimes I fear for this country, we shoot, then aim. If you look at the problems,
yes.
If you look at the policies sometimes we have, one wonders whether they are pro-SMEs, which is the bottom of the pyramid.
Yes.
And a pyramid cannot stand on its tip. It stands on the base. That base is what you need to solidify.
Yes.
That's where the government needs to come up with pro-SME laws that support, that persuade banks to actually deliberately lend to SMEs and support them.
Yes.
Because what banks have done, and I challenge the banks here on the full glare of the cameras, is they have become complacent, they're comfortable. They'll shamelessly take your money, you deposit with them, and without value addition, they take it straight to central bank and start earning an interest through treasury bills and bonds. Whereas that money is actually supposed to be passed around and circulated and made to gain value by being lent to SMEs and to other businessmen. It is the businessmen who should go and buy treasury bills, not the banks. And it's an illegality, the banks. And I hope that the new CS Treasury will actually stop that. Let that money first circulate within the business community and let the businessmen make enough profit, and when they don't know what to do with the money, they can go and buy treasury bills and bonds.
Yes.
But the way they are right now, the banks are choking the economy by withdrawing this money that should otherwise be circulating within. And those are some of the policies that the government must be deliberate. If we are going to create those millions of jobs, then there must be deliberate, intentional purpose to actually support SMEs in every sense of the word.
Yes.
Yes. They are very innovative, they are creative. They can support this country.
Yes.
But we must also invest in a bit of support to the SMEs.
Yes. I want to combine two questions, and they've come from the public, especially the young people, and they're asking, what's the strategy to ensure the 1 million jobs promised by this government are delivered? And then also another question that's really coming up is the programs. I know you mentioned 2 programs for the youth, and how can they get in touch?
Yeah. All right. The 1 million jobs will only come from actions that we're talking about here, where we are saying, can we direct more resources to the SMEs? Can we help them adopt technology? Where we are saying, instead of people leaving their houses to go and work out there, can we create online jobs? Because the workspace now is not a place to visit. You can work from the comfort of your house. So a lot of tech jobs are being created. There are many tech hubs around the country that are really creating very many jobs.
Yes.
And so for me, I would say we must avail more credit and avail more technology to the SMEs and really look at them from the bottom of the pyramid as the group that shoulders 90% of the workforce. 90%.
Yes.
And so it is a group, proverbially we say the cow that produces the most milk is fed first.
Yes.
You know, the one that just trickles a bit, you wait for it to wait a bit. But the one that's producing. And here for me, I have no doubt in my mind that it is the SMEs that are actually holding this economy together. Can you imagine the entire civil service does not employ more than 2 million people?
Yes.
The entire. Everyone, county assemblies. And if you look at the employment from the SMEs, we have over 16 to 18 million SMEs in this country that are running the day-to-day affairs. So I think the government must shift its focus and really support that SME space and allow business to thrive and support them in the best way possible.
Yes.
Companies should be encouraged to use their CSR programs to support SMEs so that we can grow what really matters in this country. Yes.
Thank you so much, James Muriel, for joining us today. It is so obvious why you are the chairman, because you're so passionate when it comes to SMEs, and we're talking about empowering small businesses. Thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you. Thank you, Cynthia, for having me as well.
Now, moving on, trade between Kenya and Malaysia is expected to receive a major boost once direct flights between Nairobi and Kuala Lumpur begin operation. The Far East nation plans to start direct flights to Kenya mid-November, targeting to tap tourism and trade. Malaysia ambassador to Kenya, Didsek Ruzmi Mohammed, says that there will be scheduled flights for direct flights weekly to and from Malaysia as the two nations seek to deepen ties.
Exports to Malaysia was valued at 110 billion shillings, while imports from Malaysia was valued at 141 billion shillings in 2022. Trade between the two countries is expected to be boosted by direct flights between the two nations, with the inaugural flight scheduled for 15th November this year. Malaysian ambassador to Kenya, Ruzami Mohammed, says there will be 4 weekly flights to and from Malaysia.
With this new service or direct flights provided by AirAsia, more Malaysian businessmen can come here to Kenya, and more Kenyan businessmen or companies can go to Malaysia to source various products.
Malaysia says it's planning to leverage Kenya's strategic location to increase its edible oils shipments to Africa. The partnership will also see Kenya package edible oils from Malaysia for re-export to regional countries.
Kenya import crude palm oil. It's not only for Kenya. What I know is Kenya import the palm oil and then resell it to other countries, especially in the East and West Africa.
In a reciprocity agreement, Kenya will also use Malaysia as its base for horticulture exports to the Asian markets.
This agricultural product can be exported more to Malaysia, not only to Malaysia, to other countries in that region, in ASEAN, Southeast ASEAN.
Malaysia will also offer training to the Kenyan youth on industrialization and also offer extension services to Kenyan palm oil farmers. Benson Rioba reporting for Prime Edition.
Lake Baringo, a stunning freshwater lake, captivates tourists with its surrounding landscapes, adding on to its rich biodiversity. Known for its fresh waters and also its surroundings, Lake Baringo is a true gem that offers a unique blend of natural beauty, cultural experiences, and adventure, as highlighted on tonight's Magical Scenes.
As you approach Lake Baringo, the first thing likely to strike you is its waters, framed in lush green hills and rugged cliffs. The tranquil ambience invites visitors to pause and soak in the beauty of the scenery, making it a perfect escape from the hustle and bustle of life elsewhere. The lake's calm surface reflects the changing colors of the sky, creating a mesmerizing spectacle at sunrise and sunset that leaves onlookers in awe. Lake Baringo is also known as a sanctuary for diverse wildlife. Birdwatchers flock around lake area to observe over 400 species of birds, including the African fish eagle, vibrant kingfishers, and elegant herons. The lake is home to hippos and crocodiles, and its shores are often adorned with playful monkeys and other wildlife, adding to the enchanting atmosphere. For adventure seekers, kayaking and canoeing activities would provide an intimate way to explore the lakes, hidden caves, and islands, while fishing enthusiasts can cast their lines in search of tilapia and catfish. The nearby Olkokwe Island, known for its stunning landscapes and rich flora, is a popular spot for hiking and picnicking, allowing visitors to immerse themselves in the beauty of nature.
It's an amazing experience, you know, and we saw a lot of animals. They are really cute. We feed the monkey. It's a very interesting experience.
We want to encourage our clients to ensure that you plant a tree, a fruit, or any other environmental causing positive effect as you visit the hotel. We have a tree nursery within the hotel where we have fruits and trees. And these ones we sell some so that we can sustain the nursery, but at the same time we also encourage the clients to plant themselves so that they can always remember.
Irene Mchuma Odim, Magical Sense in the county of Baringo.
NCBA Group has reported 9.8 billion shillings in first half net profit, representing a 5.4% increase that was driven by improved operating income and a robust services sector. The lender has proposed an interim dividend payout of 2 shillings and 25 cents per share.
NCBA Group increased customer loans by 5.9% to 309.7 billion shillings. From this, the lender booked 38.1 billion shillings in interest income, up from 30.8 billion shillings. In addition, non-interest income rose 7.9% to 14.9 billion shillings. These earned the NCBA Group 9.8 billion shillings in net profit.
Subsidiary contribution, this was a conversation we had, if you recall, at the end of the year. We continue to grow that contribution. Today has improved to 19%. So you're really showing the diversification of our business.
Unlike other industry players, NCBA Group says its gross non-performing loans reduced by 4.1% to 40.9 billion shillings.
interests are too high, we tend to obviously not get enough businesses borrowing. We tend to lend more to government, which is true, which is not good for the long-term sustainability of our business. So again, it's one of those things that whenever I read headlines or other people talk about the fact that banks enjoy when interest rates are high, I say, actually, you have no idea that this is the worst that can happen to us, because it means next year we're suffering if we don't have businesses that are doing well.
The listed firm has recommended an interim dividend payout of 2 shillings and 25 cents, which is 50 cents more than what was proposed during a similar period last year.
Digital business in Kenya, which represents M-Shwari and Fuliza, has almost $1 billion increase in profitability over last year. When John put up the slide on volumes across the region are only up 4% to about 478 billion of disbursements.
Gashora says NCBA Group's assets have increased 4.4% to 689.1 billion shillings. Frederick Mwoki for Prime Edition.
Investors who acquire land in any of the 38 special economic zones will have 6 months to start setting up, failure to which their licenses will be revoked. Investments, Trade and Industry Cabinet Secretary Salim Vuria is accusing some investors of hoarding land in special economic zones for speculation purposes, locking out other potential investors.
There have been a concern that some investors take too long to set up after securing or relevant approval and documentations. This, however, prompted the government to introduce measures aimed at compelling investors to move with the speed to set up once they secure the approval. Investment, Trade and Industry Cabinet Secretary is concerned some investors who allocated land in Special Economic Zone, such as 5,000-acre Nyamai Special Economic Zone, are yet to break grounds years after being licensed.
We're doing this because we have really been putting a lot of incentives to ensure that we attract investors, including making sure that they have cheap power. So we cannot hold.
He says 11 investors have been licensed to set up at Nyamai Special Economic Zone.
We have a lineup of around 19 companies who have already submitted their applications. 11 of them have already been cleared, and now they are processing to come to the ground. So this is a very, very unique opportunity for our country.
Mfuria was speaking in Nyamai during the groundbreaking of 365 million shilling crystal potatoes processing plan that on completion is expected to employ 350 workers.
They get involved. Kila mtu ndio kusambaza hiyo makazi itapatikana, may it be business, may it be employment, may it be whatever, so that it is well coordinated.
Business in Special Economic Zone enjoy initiatives such as cheaper electricity and lower taxes.
Holiday Bonanza iko kwa *570# pekee na ni option 4. Inamaanisha mwezi mzima wa Agosti ni tushinde. Dial *570#, chagua option number 4 na ujipatie ushindi wako wa bidhaa au chapa, kwa sababu tumejaza. Kila wiki tunatangaza mshindi wa 250,000 Kenyan shillings na zaidi, na zawadi chungu mzima. Alafu guess what? Tumerudisha Probox ndani, na isitoshe Mazda Flare pia iko ndani. Ni *570# pekee, option ni 4. Holiday Bonanza, tushinde!
Welcome back. We are now changing gears to sports with Daniel Wahome.
Thank you very much, Cynthia. And, well, at the end of this newscast, we'll be giving you an update on what's happening in Lausanne in the Diamond League meeting. But let's start at home, where the Kenya Under-20 athletics team received kits today ahead of the 20th edition of the World Athletics Championship set for Lima, Peru, between the 27th and the 31st of this month. A total of 19 athletes will travel to Lima.
The Kenya Under-20 athletics team, which is currently in residential training camp at Kasarani, received ceremonial kits ahead of this Saturday's departure for the World Under-20 Championship.
Mazoezi ya hapa Kasarani imekuwa sawa. Nimekuwa niking'ang'ana, nimekuwa nikitafuta kick, mambo ya finishing, na naona si mbaya.
Tumelewana na timu, lakini unajua sasa ni medali. Tunaona medali. Ni kuelewana sasa kama Serema atakuwa mbele ama mimi ni sawa. Tumejipanga vizuri. Ndio.
Kenya will be led by Africa 800-meter champion Sarah Moraa, who will captain the ladies team, and 3,000-meter steeplechase Africa silver medalist Edmund Serem, who will be the men's team captain for the 5-day championship, as Kenya will be out to better their 2022 outing, where they finished fourth with 3 gold, 3 silver and 4 bronze medals.
I think as responsible people, we have to give every support to every young athlete, whether they have done well or not, to encourage them so that they will be doing well in the next one. Those who will win, we celebrate them. We will celebrate those who will be participating in that, so that we give them a chance to be motivated for the next championship. But we don't want a situation where we give negative feelings, negative fights at every level when our athletes are outside there.
The team has been in training for over 2 weeks now.
On is that AFC Leopards forward Victor Omune was named the club's best player of the season at the inaugural Gala Awards organized by Unit 45 branch to honor players who excelled during the 2023-2024 FKF Premier League season. The ceremony also saw Leopards unveil their new signings, including Julius Masaba and Samuel Semo.
Victor Omune played a pivotal role to Leopards' 5th finish in the FKF Premier League last season, emerging the team's top scorer with 7 goals and aiding them to finishing 3rd in the Mozartbet Cup. Omune also won the Players' Player of the Season award, receiving trophies and a cash reward of 150,000 shillings for the 2 accolades, while Casey Odhiambo bagged the Fans' Player of the Season award, accompanied by 85,000 shillings cash reward. Prime Cabinet Secretary Musalia Mudavadi, who was the chief guest, challenged the club's leadership to go corporate and challenge for this season's league title.
This season, do not allow them to live on borrowed time. This season, let us go full blast and win the trophy and remind them that you are the Leopards.
As fans of Ingwe, we are behind them, and we are behind them until they win the season and they go to CAF Championship. We win, because that's where Ingwe belongs. Ingwe belongs to continental football, not national football.
The gala was organized by the U45 unit branch, which is a group of young Ingwe fans across the country as a way of motivating the players.
We are ready as a team. As a player, I'm ready, I'm focused, and I'm praying for an injury-free season. And I believe this season, without any injuries, I'll perform even better than last season.
We're very prepared for this season, and we hope for the best. Tunatry pia kubai league, it's been long. We have to give it our best to get there.
We are more than ready. This is the first season in the last 3 years that we have had a good pre-season. This is the first season that we have transited with a coach, a sitting coach, and this is the first season that we have not lost more than 5 players.
Leopards also used the event to unveil their new signings for next season, including Julius Masaba, Samuel Semo, Sydney Lukale and Peter Manyang Mabok. Ingwe will open their 2024-2025 FKF Premier League season this Sunday at the Dandora Stadium against promoted Mathare United.
And Kisii-based FKF Premier League side Shabana FC have received a major boost ahead of the new season by signing a 3-year sponsorship deal with SportPesa worth 75 million shillings.
Shabana FC has landed a major sponsorship deal with SportPesa for a period of 3 years. The club's patron and Kisii Governor Simba Arati promised to ensure completion of the Gusii Stadium on time to enable the team use the facility for home matches.
You know, the club had not operated for 17 good years. It was nowhere. Now it's up and running, and we have that the Kenyans, not only Kisii actually, is all over the country. Shabana is a club that is loved by many people in the country. Therefore, the only assurance is that we will be there. We've never believed in the end lose in a game. We will win, as it were.
Shabana say they are well prepared for the new season after beefing up their squad and will attempt to go for the league title.
The season starts on Saturday, and I think our team is prepared for the first match. And of course, we have done very good signings, and we are looking forward for our first victory this season 2024-2025.
They will get their 2024-2025 FKF Premier League season underway this weekend, away to Bidco United.
Now, an Elvis Moigwe of Kembu Golf Club achieved his dream of playing and qualifying for the Faldo Junior Grand Final by winning the NCBDA Faldo Series Kenya Championship held at the current country club. Elvis played a first round score of 1 over par 71, a second round of 2 under par 70, and a final round of 3 over par 75 to finish with an aggregate score of 218. Elvis lost to Daniel Kirago in a playoff in Limuru in 2022 and missed out on the 2023 edition held at Karen. The other 3 qualifiers include 18-year-old Anthony Mbudia, who played 253 gross, 14-year-old Sheshwant Harish, who played 220 gross, and Bianca Ngesho, who had 230 gross. The 3 are from Muthaiga Golf Club. The 4 have gained entry to the Faldo Junior Grand Final to be held at the Al Ain Equestrian Shooting and Golf Club in the UAE on the 19th to the 21st of November 2024.
I'm so grateful to win this tournament. It was my dream to win this tournament because I've lost it in 2 years consecutive, and I'm so happy to get a chance to win it in this year.
My last 3 days were good. I started off well. Playing 1 under on the first day really boosted up my confidence, and I tried to go for the lead, but on the second day kind of fell off, and the third day I collapsed. But I really tried my best, and I'm happy that I won the Faldo.
And to end up this bulletin, let's take a look at the results from the Atletisma. This is a Diamond League meeting that is coming to a close in Lausanne, Switzerland. Mary Morin has won the women's 800 meters, 1 minute 57.91 seconds. And Emmanuel Wanyonyi is now the second fastest person in the world all time in the 800 meters after winning the 800 meters in 1 minute 41.11 seconds. It's a world lead. Only world record holder David Rudisha has run faster. Jasmine Camacho Queen, bronze medalist in Paris, winning the 100 meter hurdles women, 12.35 seconds. Matthew Hudson Smith, a silver medalist at the Olympics, winning the 400 meters in 43.96 seconds. Jakob Ingebrigtsen missed out on a medal in the 1500 meters but won today's race, 3 minutes 27.83 seconds. Reynald Cheruiyot finished 4th in 3 minutes 30.88 seconds. Dina Asher Smith winning the women's 800 meters in 10.88 seconds. The 3000 meters women won by Diribe Welteji of Ethiopia, 8 minutes 21.50 seconds, almost 5 seconds off the previous meeting record, with Janet Chepketich finishing second in 8 minutes 23.48 seconds, while the 110 meter hurdles men won by Rashid Broadbell of Jamaica in 13.10 seconds. A full report together with the reactions coming in our bulletins tomorrow on KBC Channel 1 Sport. My name is Daniel Wahome. Back to Cynthia Nyamai.
Thank you, Wahome. We're now coming at the end, and I would like to make an apology. We did have a story on exporting skilled labor, where we did read out the Principal Secretary in the State of Labor and Skill Development, Shadrach Mwadime, but unfortunately on the screen we had him as a CS. We do want to apologize for that. He is the PS in the State of Labor and Skills Development. Now, I do want to thank all of you for staying with us until this point, and especially the Gen Zs, the young people who continue to say that they do enjoy the young and industrious, and we did share some of your questions and comments earlier. From me and the rest of the team, we do want to wish you a very good night.
fill us again, ignite the fire in us.
As a woman, how do you rise to break the ceiling and the cultural barrier of leadership?
The freedom you have does not give you that guarantee to abuse or to talk whatever things you want to talk. Many fathers just look at us to make up, but the kind of depression people are going through in the church is crazy. So the emerging generals are people who shall move with technology, who shall understand the seasons they are living in, and move with it and prosper God's agenda.
What is the future?
The future belongs to those who plan for it now.
This family is driving me crazy.
Why don't you just walk out of these people's lives and leave this country?
Too late for that, darling.
I will not watch you bring my father down. Umesikia?
He's helping us do all that by himself, Alice.
I'm wondering what would happen if I told my dad where you guys were hiding that Christabel girl.
Then you'll have blood on your hands.
You're not going to hurt that girl, Dad.
I want just to deal with it once and for all.
How about you change your tactics?
Why do you look like you've seen a ghost?
Kekara is missing.
I go back on everything I learned at art school. Every day, I still use it. I'm upstairs right now with production design and planning what I'm doing in 3 weeks' time. I cast very, very carefully. I cast really well. And even Harrison Ford to me was kind of new. He actually came straight off the set, says the hat, the leather jacket. And I said, you want to do the movie? That's how I cast him. To the extent that in those days when people I was with said, who's Harrison Ford?
This great Hollywood director began his career working on TV programmes at the BBC in Britain. At the age of 27, he launched his own commercial production company, which very quickly became an international success. His first movie, The